Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Let's do it.
All right, so today we're tackling this idea of hitting our peak. Like, have we reached our full potential or is there more?
Yeah.
And I was so intrigued by this WYZEGURU newsletter by Gilles Cote. He was riffing on Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset. Have you heard of it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this newsletter,
Big fan.
think you've hit your peak?
Yeah.
Here's why you're wrong.
Love that title.
Right. I was like, okay,
Mm.
I'm in. And the basic idea is that we actually don't have like a fixed potential. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can cultivate it. We can grow.
It's so empowering, right? I mean, instead of thinking, oh, I'm just not a math person, it's like, okay, maybe math is challenging for me, but I can get better.
Yes.
It's a total game changer.
It's like instead of saying I'm not creative, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I haven't tapped into that yet, but I can learn.
Yeah. Love it.
Okay, so that's the gist of growth mindset. But this newsletter had this awesome 5-minute action plan, like
Right.
so practical,
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
right? So we have to dive into that.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so the first step is like pinpoint a challenge that you've been avoiding.
Okay.
Now, it might seem obvious, but why is that so important to just like acknowledge the thing?
Well, I think it's because you can't fix something if you don't even know it's broken, right?
Oh, that's a good analogy.
It's like, if you have a leaky faucet in your house, if you don't even know there's a leak, you can't fix it. So by like naming the challenge, you're bringing it into the light, you can start to work on it.
Yeah, you're not just letting it fester.
Exactly. And just that act of naming it can be surprisingly empowering.
That's true. Okay, so step 2 is all about those limiting beliefs, right? We all have them. So the newsletter calls it Reframe Your Limiting Belief.
Okay.
And it actually gave this great example of a woman who is terrified of public speaking.
Yeah, I struggle with that one.
Right. But her limiting belief was, I'm just not good at this. Like, I'm going to freeze up,
I know that feeling.
But she reframed it. And she
Yeah.
started telling herself, okay, I'm uncomfortable now, but I can learn, I can practice. Maybe I'll even enjoy it someday.
Wow, that's a powerful reframe.
It is, right.
Yeah.
It's like she's acknowledging the reality, but she's opening up possibility,
Totally. It's not about denying your feelings, it's about shifting the perspective.
Yes, exactly.
It's like from closed to open.
Okay, step 3 is to create a micro action. This is where we actually do something, right?
Okay.
And the newsletter is really big on tiny steps. Why is that? Like, we all know we should break things down, but what's the psychology behind it?
Well, I think it's about momentum. Like when you take a tiny step, you get a little win, and that motivates you to take the next step.
It's like a snowball effect.
Exactly. And the newsletter actually cites a study that found that people who focused on micro actions were 40% more likely to stick to their goals because it's not as overwhelming, right?
Right, that makes sense because it's easy to feel defeated before you even start if the thing feels too big.
Right. You're not setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for success with these small wins.
I love that. Okay. And then the last step, so simple but so crucial.
What is it?
Schedule it.
Aha. Yeah.
Put it in the calendar. Why is that so powerful?
Because it takes it from a wishy-washy, oh, I should do that, to a concrete commitment.
Oh, I see. It's like making it real. It's not just floating around in your head anymore.
Exactly. When it's on the calendar, it's like, okay, this is happening.
Okay, so there's our 5-minute action plan. Pinpoint the challenge, reframe that limiting belief, create a micro action, and schedule it.
So good.
Right. Okay, so now let's talk about like the benefits of this whole growth mindset thing. The newsletter highlighted like an instant confidence boost, shifting focus to growth, creating a habit of progress.
Okay.
What do you think about all that?
Well, I think the instant confidence boost comes from that feeling of taking action, like you were saying before. Even if it's a small action, it's still forward movement.
It's like, oh, I did something.
Exactly. And that little bit of success fuels the fire.
It does.
Keeps you going.
And then by shifting the focus to growth, it's like you're not so hung up on the setbacks.
Right. It's not about being perfect. It's about learning and growing along the way.
Yes, it becomes more about the process than the outcome.
Exactly. And the more you practice this, the more it becomes a habit.
It's like rewiring your brain,
It is. You're basically training yourself to associate effort with progress, which is amazing.
It's so cool. So thinking about all this, what's one area in your life where you felt stuck or had a limiting belief that's been holding you back?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think for me, it's sometimes putting my creative work out there, you know?
Yeah.
There's always that little voice saying, what if people don't like it?
Yeah, that fear of judgment, that's a big one.
It is, but I'm working on reframing that. It's more about, okay, I'm putting this out there to share my perspective, to connect with others, and if not everyone resonates with it, that's okay.
Yeah, that's a great reframe.
It's a work in progress, but this whole growth mindset thing is really helping.
It is. And I think, this deep dive has been such a good reminder for me that we have more control than we think, right?
Absolutely.
We can choose to embrace that growth mindset and unlock possibilities.
It all starts with one small step.
This was so inspiring. Thank you so much for diving into this with me.
Thank you for having me.
And to all our listeners, don't forget to check out the Wise Guru newsletter on LinkedIn. We'll leave a link in the description.
Keep those growth mindsets engaged.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.